Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host JT, and if this is your first time tuning in, thank you and welcome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know every time I upload a new video. Here on the show today, I have a very special guest with a powerful message. He is an author, he is a public speaker, as well as an entrepreneur. His book, Loving Someone Who is Dying, is truly inspirational. So please welcome Nick Strand. Let's jump right into it because there's so much good stuff that I want to hear about you and your book. And so your book is called Loving Someone Who is Dying.
Yes.
And I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's a heavy cover, but a beautiful story. And it's about my wife and I, and her really 10-year. We were together for 10 years, and when I met her, I learned that she had cystic fibrosis, a lung disease that she was born with. And at age 3 was diagnosed and was told that she'd only live till 13. So through her journey, she kind of was given a death sentence that a lot of us sometimes take for granted as we don't have those struggles. But she turned it into a quality. She turned it into a strength. And one of the big things that I found to love about her, as she took this huge, heavy burden and was able to overcome it. And the book talks about our 10-year struggle or a 10-year journey together, and how I and her connected and learn together how to be able to love someone with this type of timestamp, but at the same time on how to enjoy life. And it's a beautiful journey that I basically wrote about and shared our 10 years together from, the beginning of how we met to the very, very end when she passed. And as a person from the outside coming in, learning different strategies to help and conquer, and at the same time, the many lessons I learned from her, and trying not to take life for granted, and kind of all around her, a beautiful quote she created, which was choose your attitude, create your life. And that's how choose your attitude was formed, was from that quote.
Well, that's awesome. What an amazing story of you too, just your support. I mean, you were there through it all, through the most challenging times, and for your support to be able to be there for her. And so with that, you've taken on this new journey, and I'd say it's very much so, obviously in part because of what she has done for you too.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about Choose Your Attitude and what you're doing with it.
Yeah. So after Brianna passed, it was a very difficult journey, as you could imagine. No matter how much we prepared for it, and kind of what the book kind of described, as we got closer and closer and came to a realization, after she passed, it got difficult. And I knew I wanted to write something, and it took a good year or two. And actually, last year in August 2019, I woke up one morning and the left side of my face was paralyzed, and I was shocked. I thought it was a stroke. Comes to find out, it's was simply Bell palsy. But it was a great wake-up call. It reminded me that life is fragile. It reminded me that just overnight, your left side of your face could go away, which then also showed me that your lungs could stop, your heart could stop, your brain. And so that was my turn on. That was my, okay, if not now, then when? And so I started writing, and I wrote Loving Someone Who's Dying. And as I wrote this book, it turned into an illustration, which turned into Choose Your Attitude. And so Choose Your Attitude is this apparel line, movement, motivational community where we take all these life struggles and try to turn them into a strength. And as we build from the apparel line of Choose Your Attitude, so people wear the shirt just like the shirt I have on and the hat I have, helping people kind of spread the message and share it, but then at the same time provide stories and interaction. And we also have a podcast, Choose Your Attitude, where we talk about motivation and inspiration and real life stuff and battles. And basically kind of taking life as difficult as it may be, but turning it into a strength to give you hope and, to be able to achieve whatever life may throw at you.
I love it. I love it because, we all go through our trials and our, tough times and challenges, and you've sure been through them. And from your wife, Brianna, and then your own medical things as well.
Yep.
But, putting life into perspective and seeing how someone with those challenges can live their life. And I think that she is a great example of how to live your life. She lived it to the fullest she could live it. And that's so beautiful. But with that, you have such a positive swing on it, and you've created so much good energy with Choose Your Attitude. And that's something that, I think that we all want to do, is be able to bring positivity and encourage and empower and lift people and allow them to live their best life. And that's one of my goals as well, and something that I'm working on through my podcast and through my social media platforms as well.
And you're doing it.
And so I love seeing that we have a team out there of awesome people that continue to do it as well. So
Sure.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
But what is some advice that you could give someone that is going through a hard time right now, and they, what is something, during your times of trial and turbulation and things, what was something that got you through it, and what allowed you to see the good and become stronger out of it?
It's, as you say that, it reminds me, and it kind of gave me some, some feels. I'm going through it too. So as I go through this, just because I share these moments and this positivity doesn't mean I'm struggling. And so I think the biggest thing that I would share is to do less resisting and more understanding. And what I mean by that is a lot of people would, on the outside, or people that I hear them say, well, if you do this, you won't feel that. But I feel like what happens is we get into a struggle where you begin to resist a feeling, and our feelings are uncontrollable. And so whatever you're going through, that feeling that you're feeling is accurate. That's your feeling. So what I would say is, and one thing that's helped me is doing less in the resisting, but more in the understanding of how I feel and how I react with that feeling. So, for example, the last couple of days, I actually had a really tough time. And I kind of hit a road where it just, I broke down. But instead of resist it, what I tried to do is I tried to learn how to understand it, how to live within it. Because then what that does is that gives us strength to be able to process those feelings as opposed to resist them. And so that's what helps us actually move along and helps us prepare. So for example, in the story with Brianna and her cystic fibrosis, instead of hiding it or pushing it away, she embraced it. She shared it. She became vulnerable on that as a way to test herself and to help create herself and build that character. So, that's what I would say is less resisting and more trying to understand and be okay to feel, whether it's sad, happy. And another thing I like to say too is we tend to get stuck into saying that things are positive with a smile. When I feel a smile is accurate, yes, but to actually feel positive is to actually feel within and to be able to embrace it and go through it. So, I feel like it's more positive sometimes to be able to be sad and say you're sad as opposed to be sad with a smile, right? So,
Yeah, yeah,
so
and
yep,
sure. I mean, I totally agree with you on the fact that you have to know your feelings and you have to know what you're going through, and being able to have people that can, you know, uplift you and also be there as a support system is something that I always, say is so important to have and to build
yeah.
that support system around you. Would you say that for yourself that one thing that you had was a good group of people around you?
It's funny you ask that because it's a little bit of my battle that I'm struggling through right now, if I was to be completely honest. Um, we had an amazing support system as Brianna was going through it. But once everybody loses or has a loss like that, it's interesting to watch everybody kind of struggle. Um, Death seems to be this weird thing that we all kind of suppress or hide. And what I found is in the death of my mom, who passed away in 2012 to cancer, and then Brianna, is that support system begins to kind of deconstruct, right? And so what happens is we try to find things and we try to look outside. My tough lesson right now is, by all means, yes, your support system is huge. I think it's really, really important. So what I'm saying, I don't feel like I'm trying not to decredit it. But what I'm trying to say is it's important to also work on self. And that's what I'm working on right now is I'm kind of in that struggle. Um, is yes, the community is very helpful. It's important to have friends. Um, but it's also very important to be able to work through yourself because times like this, sometimes they're not able to be around, and it's not nothing that anybody's doing intentionally, but it's part of trauma. And so I guess in a roundabout answer, yes, it's important to have your community, but at the same time it's important to know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and know who can actually help you learn to become better. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now, is where I'm having to remove some of the negative energy. And when I say negative energy, those that don't really understand the struggle, as opposed to those that are um, understanding and able to step within the struggle with you. So I guess, yeah, in a long-term answer, yes, community is important, but at the same time, your personal strength is even more important.
And knowing yourself, yeah,
Yeah,
and that, like you
yeah,
said, the personal strength, I like that.
yep,
And I think that's something that we all can work on. I mean,
yep,
I know personally that that's definitely that something that I need to work on, and being able to understand yourself and get through those things. So
it's
yeah,
it's a constant battle that we all are in, and the goal is that every day when you wake up, you're striving to work at it again, because we are going to have to work on it until the day we die. And so it's important that we keep doing that. But one of the bigger lessons is the only control we have is within ourselves. And so if you keep giving yourself the energy, that's how this type of energy, like with Brianna and such, actually was so strong, is because she just continually worked on herself and it just radiated. And so that's kind of, where this comes from is, um, yeah,
I like that word that you just used, radiated. And
yeah,
I don't know Brianna but I can just feel through what you're doing that that is so true, that she radiated that attitude towards the people around her. And that is what really drove so many people to love her and surround her, and how she made the best out of every moment of her life. And so that's
yep,
so cool.
yep,
Now, what's some advice, or how can people learn more about what you're doing?
yep.
Because you give out great advice and throughout
Thank
your
you.
podcasts, and you have some great guests on there as well. And then your book, of course,
Yep.
that people can connect with you and reach out to you.
Yeah, I have many different platforms, but the best stuff is we our apparel, our podcast, the book. Everything can be found at chooseyouratitude.com. And then also all our socials are Choose Attitude Create Life. So that's Choose Attitude Create Life for both Facebook and Instagram. And we're continually bringing out more content and creating. And so, yeah, we definitely would love to, subscribe to our podcast, go take a follow to our Instagram, and, definitely check out what we have to offer on our website.
That's so cool. And so, what's some advice? Last
Yeah.
question here is: what's some advice that you'd give someone who is trying to do something similar to you and find a purpose in a career similar to yours?
Um, Believe in yourself. Continually keep going. One of the biggest issues in that community thing, as I bring up again, is nobody sees your vision but you. And oftentimes, when you ask people for help or something, they don't see that vision or they don't see those steps of success. They sometimes see more of the failures because that's usually when you ask for help, right? You're not going to ask for help if you're doing okay. And so take that with a grain of salt and don't beat yourself up too much, but believe in yourself and keep going because it takes time. And just like me 12 months ago, even today, I keep beating myself up sometimes because I know that this is going to work. But it takes time. And in time, people will see that drive and determination and that consistency. And that word consistency is huge because once people see that you're not joking and you're still there next week after everybody's left because nobody else is sticking around, then they know that you're real and you actually believe. And so that's what I would say. Consistency and keep going.
Well, thanks for the advice,
Yep.
and really appreciate having you on, Nick. And
Yeah.
it's just so cool to see what you're doing. And I
Thank you.
love your just your apparel. First off, choose your
Yeah.
attitude. Such an awesome, powerful saying as well. And go check out Nick's website at chooseyouratitude.com. And thank you again, Nick, for being here.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate for being on. Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for watching my YouTube channel. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time.